guys, hey, do we want to talk some lore?
Of course we do.
Lore.
Bring it back to the lore.
There's nothing else to do in Destiny right now.
We have our Lore Master Circuit8 here. He is Circuit8 Lore Master.
The Lore Master. Well, a couple weeks ago we talked about the cosmological views in Destiny. So I want to talk about someone who's spent his life, or maybe currently spending his life, studying and understanding the real truths of the universe and the darkness. I think he's one of the true main characters in Destiny's story, and that is Osiris.
Ooh, yeah.
Boom.
So first off, he shares his name with the Egyptian god of the dead and the afterlife. The old Egyptian legend behind Osiris describes him as a great king. At that time, he saw his people were uncivilized. I guess this is quite early into Egypt's history. And Osiris really strives to teach people how to live on a higher plane. He wants them to adapt laws, learn agriculture, learn the proper ways to worship the gods, and then he moves on. He travels to other lands, teaches them to do the same thing. While he's gone, his brother, Set, conspires against him, and upon his return, he just axes him. Owned. He's done. Osiris, got pwned by his brother, man. Team killed. So, Osiris is said to have returned to some power through magical means later on. How that legend goes down, you can look it up. There's some kind of different magic, almost Jesus-y sort of things going on. But he comes back, basically, and is then promoted to being the god of death rituals and the afterlife.
Oh, dang.
So, maybe we'll see some similarities between our two Osirises, or Osiri, maybe? Is that plural?
Osiri. Hashtag Osiri.
Right.
Yeah, that stuff is interesting, man, because I really want to see what they're going to do with Mercury in this next expansion.
Yeah, well, it's a Vex machine planet, right? It was once terraformed, but the Vex got a hold of it, and it's now basically one big machine. But we do see that there's a little camp there that those lucky enough to go to the lighthouse have seen it. But we'll get to that. I want to start with basically pointing out we don't have any real direct communication with Osiris in Destiny, do we? He's pretty important in the lore, but I think the only place we really hear from him is a recording of him when you're going down to the Shrines of Oryx.
Yeah.
Yep.
And basically, if we go back into the history of Destiny, we first find Osiris, who's a warlock, at the Battle of Six Fronts. He's defending the city against its first massive assault.
Lock life.
Yes. Hashtag lock life, dude, for sure. They're the coolest.
Master race.
Hunters.
Yeah.
You're outnumbered.
We taught you guys how to blink and how to
You
dress,
have to
probably.
blink to survive. Come on.
Whatever.
Anyway, so Titans were made famous in the Battle of Six Fronts, but Osiris was noticed too. It said he was almost everywhere on the battlefield all at once, which I think, for me, is the first allusion to his connection with the Vex and time travel.
Oh.
Saint 14.
The ultimate blinker.
Yes, yeah, dude. Saint 14, who was leading the Titans in that battle, noticed his prowess, and he actually recommends him to the Speaker, who eventually takes him on as Vanguard Commander, and even his apprentice for a while. So, at one point in time,
cool.
Osiris was basically training to become the new Speaker, to have an intimate connection with the Traveler, which kind of, I think, we had a preacher's daughter sort of situation where he went against it, but we'll get to that. During the following period of time, Osiris is consumed with studying the nature of the darkness. He sends guardians away chasing what the Speaker considers to be rumors and legends. It's a waste of time. Osiris is implied to be responsible for inspiring Kabar to explore the Vaults of Glass, and other countless followers did a lot of the same. He sent ships and guardians out to the reef. He sent them to chase the Ahamkara. His warlock followers turned to studying the darkness instead of spending their time figuring out how to heal the Traveler, their one and only hope at the time.
Yeah.
To the Speaker, he's driving an ideological rift between the inhabitants of the tower and the city and wasting their resources. But Osiris had legitimate concerns about the nature of Guardians and the Traveler. I want to read a short excerpt from the card Allies Osiris, and this is actually the speaker has written a message to Osiris, and I think he's pleading for him to come back. But we can kind of draw some similarities between Osiris and us as players, I think, too. So check this out. The speaker says, "I watched as you grew tired of strike missions and the grueling, unproductive sessions with the Cryptarchs. That was when I took you under my wing. I saw our future in you, but your curiosity was voracious. How much of a Guardian's personality and memories were true? How much had been fabricated by their ghost? Did Guardians share particular personality traits? A willingness to yield to authority, a tendency to do anything that anyone asked for the promise of uncertain rewards? A blind knight-errant mentality? Had the Traveler manufactured all of you as living weapons? I admit, I found your questions divisive and disloyal, and I feared you might be capable of breaking our unity when the city's position had grown so tenuous. Why divert attention away from the Traveler, our only hope?"
Oh, man. I can definitely relate.
Absolutely. Osiris is us, man.
Yeah.
He represents, I think, we're like, we want more. We want more story. He's finding it.
Yeah.
You know?
He's
Give
making
me
it on
more.
his own.
You know, and that brings up an interesting point. I wonder if we'll ever see in the future, like, the speaker battle. Like, him actually, get into some fighting.
I feel like that'll probably end up being much, much further down the road towards almost, I would guess, towards the end of the Destiny project itself, because I feel like that might be a card that could... It seems like it could be more of a cliche, almost, that it'd be like, oh, look, he's supposed to be our friend. I feel like he could very much just be the opposite, and he's just playing all buddy-buddy to us just for now.
Is he nefarious? Is the Traveler nefarious? Maybe the speaker's just wrong.
Yeah, that's something they could very well throw on us, like Destiny 9 or Destiny 10 or whatever they want to call it, because God knows they're not going to call it Destiny 9 or 10. That's just reaffirming how much time people have wasted on the game. But I feel like that's going to come later on down the road as to what his plans actually are.
Well, if there is a little tension, with Osiris and the speaker, it'd be kind of cool to have like that, in Star Wars Episode 2, the Count Dooku Yoda experience, where Yoda kind of walks in as a little more seasoned, and he's like, "Oh, you still got much to learn,
I mean, Speaker's got the robes of a warlock, so I mean, nothing says awesome like warlock fight.
Yeah, right. It'd just be interesting to see that,
Well, who knows what the speaker did in the past, how he got that position. I mean, now he's more like a priest. He's a conduit or a liaison between the Traveler and us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
at least that's what he claims to be anyway.
Right. That's true. And there are other factions vying for power to compete with that, too.
Yeah.
But basically, he's not jiving with Osiris too well, right?
Yeah.
He's like, come on, we need to be healing the Traveler, not studying the darkness. We don't need to know how to kill it, or, all we need to know is how to kill it, rather. We don't need to understand where it's coming from, what it wants. So he kind of syncs up with one of the cosmological positions we talked about a couple weeks ago, actually, where we don't need to understand it. He might be a praxic warlock, actually. That kind of lines up with their beliefs, like Toland.
Yeah.
But then we have the Battle of the Twilight Gap. It's one of the biggest battles in the city's history, and this may seem kind of long, but I'm trying to tie as much together as possible, because I'm really hoping there's a lot of Osiris stuff come the Taken King, and I hope we see some more of this. So I'm going to wrap everything up into a little package, hopefully. But the Battle of Twilight Gap, it's one of the biggest battles in the city's history. It changes everything. The fallen House of Kings manipulates the other fallen houses to join them, and they all attack the last city, with their goal in mind is capturing the Traveler. The wolves, as we know, are caught up in the reef and never make it, thanks to the Queen and her harbingers. The city almost succumbs to the other fallen houses, but Lord Shaxx actually leads a counterattack and saves the city from certain doom. So after this battle, Shaxx creates the Crucible. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Shaxx creates the Crucible. in order to train a new generation of Guardians who are more prepared to fight the darkness. And also the Crucible stages are geographically planned so that there's a constant flow of Guardians in and out of the area, just in case there is an incursion.
That makes
By
sense.
the way,
awesome.
yeah. See, that's also when the City Vanguard, now led by Saladin, began sending Guardians out on strikes against major enemies and taking a more proactive stance overall against the darkness. Because we realized if we don't go get it, it will show up right on our doorstep. Alongside the other city's reforms in the aftermath of that battle is the Speaker's decision to exile Osiris for the alleged detriment he's caused.
Of course, of course.
Yep, tired of hearing your crap, Osiris. Osiris had developed a cult of followers and threatened the stability of the city. Long story short, the stability of the Speaker's intent, at least. Osiris had bigger plans, and he'd already been talking with the Nine, the Queen.
The Nine.
Yeah, he was never seen again by anyone in the tower, but the cult of Osiris still works towards his goals. We know the Speaker has since tried to locate Osiris, as his theories on the Hive and Crota were fully correct. Osiris also prophesied the coming of Oryx. So he raises questions even the Speaker can't really answer, and maybe begins to sway his absolute faith in the Traveler a bit.
Yeah, man, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
And I really hope it does play out, not just something that's swept underneath another Grandma card.
Yeah.
You said Saladin was leader of the City Guard?
He has actually changed positions a couple of times, him and Shax, yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of curious to know where the Iron Banner came about then and why, or how, rather, he snagged that sweet spot standing in the tower for 2 days.
Right?
Yeah, maybe we
cool.
can get more in depth into the Iron Banner soon then, next time it rolls around for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it'd be kind of cool, too, to see if some of the leaders in the Vanguard will actually play in a little more than just, hey, come and talk to me and see you
Or
later.
completely ignore me, because there's nothing down there that I need to go down there for.
Right?
Right, well, I heard Zavala was supposed to be playing a bigger part in the Taken King than we've seen before. So hopefully, we'll get a little bit of his personality.
Yeah.
Well, to take the negative view, as I seem to do,
Sure.
I mean, none of them have an actual point, or
Nerf it?
not a point, rather. None of them have much of a part. I mean, if, they have their gear, cool. They have their tiny, minuscule part in the beginning of the game when you have a new character. But after that, the time spent away from them is just ridiculous. I mean, the only time you're ever down there is whenever Zer's down there. And then you just, awkwardly glance at them, hoping that they won't notice you walking away without saying hi.
Well, also,
Say, hey,
too,
you still owe me 50 glimmer.
Right?
you think about them, too, they're probably, the best of the best in that class. So when they see you, they're probably like, it's an underling.
Scrub.
Scrub.
Oh, I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Underlings are carrying on the
Here's some green
goodwill
arbor.
and the protection of, what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Well, they're all clearly very important in the story and the lore, but it's not at all reinforced in the game.
yeah.
No, they
yeah.
just
That's
stand
very
there.
true.
Even if they moved around or whatnot, it's it'd be something.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's stories of when Cade ran into a female fallen, actually, and they had to fight mutual enemies together, and
I have
then
those.
they're forced to have a little battle at the end of it. Yeah, there's little stories here and there. That's what I'm talking about right now. Let me finish up. I got just a little bit more of Osiris to cover.
Do it.
Basically, we left at the point where the Speaker is kind of having second thoughts about banning Osiris, right? Because Crota's here. We saw him. We killed him. Now his daddy's coming. So let's bring back the one guy who was really interested in figuring all this stuff out and may actually still be alive. So the Speaker starts sending out ghosts to locate him. One by one, ghosts start coming back, some reporting that Osiris is dead, some reporting him alive, some reporting he's been studying the Vex and he's figured out their gate networks and determines that the Vex are trying to secure an end state for every possible configuration of reality. They're weaving themselves into physics, literally, and the Speaker wants him back. to help figure out the darkness. Maybe he's beginning to think he was not insane. So hopefully the Taken King kind of moves this storyline along a little bit, because to me this is the linchpin. This is what ties everything together so far. If you read through the Grimoire, you'll find out Zur does work for the Nine, the great powers out in the Jovians, the planets beyond the reef that are living in the darkness. The darkness ends, there's kind of a hard line right outside of the reef, the asteroid belt. So beyond that is the darkness. Now in the reef is where the Awoken are formed, basically. Union of the light and the darkness. So out in the Jovians, we got tentacle faces like Zur, I guess.
Like face.
But even Zur met with Skolas once. You know, there are these characters that do interact. The Queen sent Skolas to the Nine after the Wolves' defeat in the reef. They were on their way to Earth to help the other fallen houses, and the Queen just obliterates them. She sends Skolas to the Nine, and they let him go. The Nine and Zur give Skolas a catch and let him go, inevitably to be tracked down by us, placed back into prison, and killed repeatedly. So unless I have the timeline screwed up, there's some greater purpose here, and the Nines are pulling some strings that we aren't really sure about. But what I do know is Osiris and the Queen have a deal. They're conspiring to defeat Oryx. Osiris cultists are allowed to recruit at the Vestian outpost in exchange for their intelligence and cooperation with the Queen. But here's a question. What are the trials for? It's mentioned it's to hone the most powerful of weapons to be ready at precisely the right moment. Brother Vance in the outpost will randomly drop some knowledge. If you walk past him, he'll say things here or there that they want Oryx here, out of the darkness, and that the cultists move around a lot. So maybe they're in and out of our time. That's why we haven't really seen them. But personally, I think Osiris mastered Vex tech, and him and his cultists traveled through time. And I think that they used the lighthouse in a different time.
Yeah.
Like, that's their camp, you know?
That might explain the ship that's just sitting there running, you know?
Well, there's incense and candles lit when you get there.
Yeah.
Like, how long has that been sitting there? It's like someone time traveled there, left your box of booty, and then got out of Dodge, right?
Right. Yeah, that's gonna be that's some good stuff, man. Why can't we have that in game?
And would you imagine if that wasn't game, how freaking amazing this game would be, and it would be like nothing that could even touch it.
Yeah,
but due to its consistent lack of depth, it's on the fringe of losing people and other games battling for the title of time for it.
Yeah, Destiny needs a lore laxative
to it. Yeah.
Just get it out.
Hopefully that's minimized in the Taken King.
Yep, I'm hoping, man. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dude, thanks for doing all that lore. That was pretty cool.
Dude, absolutely. I love it, man. And hopefully we'll have more to work with. I'll figure out something else to talk about in a couple weeks.
So pretty much, if you keep doing this, I will never have to read another Grimoire card again.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
No, I'm just reading bits and pieces. If you read weapon descriptions, armor, class item descriptions, I mean, it's just presenting it in the right way, the right pattern, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Heck yeah, man. I love it.
Weren't the 9 the war mines?
That is a theory, actually, yes. The war mines for the planets and moons out past the reef. Yeah. Which we've got, Europa, the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, that also some of those had war mines. They're big enough. So.
Yeah.
And were they transformed by the darkness as well? We don't know if maybe they're just alien powers, or if they are the war mines.
Dang.
Because if you say that their Skolas was taken to the 9...
I think he was a bargaining piece, is what I think. I think the Queen was offering him up, and they would rather not deal with her and kind of do things their own way. Of course, who's to say?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just kind of saying, like, how do you take one person, or one thing rather, to 9 different places? Like, is it like a HoloLens conference call type of thing, or?
Oh, well, I think Zur is the the contact point, and he does go to the tower. He does go to the reef. So the queen is aware to his presence and has probably talked to him before, and I assume that's where it is. In that Grimoire card regarding Skolas, it's Zur himself who appears before him, lets him out of the cell, gives him control of the catch, and says, "Here you go. See you later." The Nine want you to do something else.
Wow, that's interesting, man. I wonder what their purpose for that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we'll see them in Destiny 9.
Well, I had kind of a crackpot theory, if you want to hear it out, if we're not burning too much time.
Yeah.
Do it.
Brother Vance, he's heard talking about, like I said before, getting the right weapon prepared for the right time. What if the Trials of Osiris is designed to capture a lot of power in one point in time? If they have control over time travel, could they not, say, focus all points of time into one and, say, transfer, 5 million void bombs into Oryx's ship when he gets here, or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, just to have the most powerful of the powerful, all their concentrating power, like frozen OJ, just thick, like. And then they unleash it on Oryx when he shows up. I don't know.
Release the Kraken!
I almost think that the bigger point, though, is that Eris, and, she's involved, too. She was obviously involved with Crota, knows about Oryx, but I think Crota was just a way to get Oryx to show up.
Yeah.
I think we did that for them. We summoned Oryx, And really, to the speaker, we don't want this guy coming into our home, our solar system. We don't want him here. But there are other parties who think maybe offense is the best defense. Bring him here, let's kick his ass.
Right. Man. Hopefully all this stuff will be hashed out for us in the, Taken King. So, or at least some
in
of
a
it
non-confusing way.
Yeah.
Yeah.